at the company's annual party, feeling bored out of my mind. I was chatting with my best friend. The party is so boring, but the boss is really handsome. I really want to try that plate of Australian lobster the boss has. It looks so delicious. The next moment, my icy boss approached me with a plate of Australian lobster. His ear slightly reddened. It really does taste good. You should try some. I was bewildered and thanked him with a confused expression. Then I looked down at my phone and saw the message box. No, the message was sent to the wrong person. After graduating from college, I miraculously survived a grueling interview at a restaurant company in Los Angeles and landed a junior position. Just a few days into the job, I found myself at the company's annual party. The party itself was pretty dull, but at least there was a handsome guy to look at. Yes, this handsome guy was the company's boss, Mr. Saxon. On my first day at work, I passed by him and was immediately struck by his impressive appearance. As I caught a glimpse of him, I had to turn around to see Moore was strikingly handsome. Later, I learned it from gossiping colleagues that Saxon is mixed race, with a Chinese mother. No wonder his features are so well defined and sculpted. From a distance, I saw him eating a plate of Australian lobster with graceful, deliberate movements. Saxon was truly a sight to behold, and both the lobster and he were equally mouthwatering. I messaged my friend. The party is so boring, but the boss is really handsome. I really want to try that plate of lobster the boss has. It looks so delicious. My friend didn't reply, so I continued to pass the time on my phone. Suddenly, I felt someone tap my shoulder from behind, I turned around and frowned in shock. Standing before me was a young and handsome face of Saxon himself. Yes, my icy boss was holding a plate of fresh Australian lobster and, with a slightly flushed face, said, "It really does taste good. You should try some." What? How did he know I had been eyeing that lobster for so long? I was confused and repeatedly thanked him, feeling like a question mark. Then I looked at my message box. No, the message was sent to the wrong person. He's actually quite nice. I used my fork to pick up a piece of lobster meat and took a big bite. The lobster was indeed tender and delicious, but my mind was preoccupied with the recent events, making me somewhat distracted from the taste. What must he think of me? A lovesick employee drooling over the boss's good looks. Who knows what impression I've left on him? With mixed feelings, I ate the lobster, which seemed to have 1,000 flavors. Despite the awkward situation, the Australian lobster inspired me with some new ideas. I work in the food development department, where we focus on developing new products and updating recipes. One of our best-selling products is Italian dumplings with pork and beef fillings. This month, we needed to launch a new flavor. Having tasted the Australian lobster, I thought the delicious lobster meat might add an unexpected twist to Italian dumplings. I sautéed onions, green peppers, and mushrooms with salt, then mixed and cooked lobster meat and sauce. I put it all into a baking dish, added a layer of egg wash, and sprinkled cheese and bay leaf flakes on top, baking it until golden brown. The result was both visually appealing and delicious. My colleagues unanimously agreed that the lobster-filled Italian dumplings tasted fantastic. The new flavor boosted sales and earned the company a top-selling award. Each top-selling award is presented personally by the boss at the company's banquet. That meant Saxon would be awarding me. I was somewhat excited about receiving the award from Saxon himself, but unfortunately, just before the banquet, I twisted my ankle and had to attend the event in high heels. I sat in the audience, hoping the award ceremony would go smoothly. Saxon stood on stage, looking elegant and drawing everyone's attention. He took the microphone and said in his deep, magnetic voice, "Next, I'm presenting the company's top-selling award for this quarter. The winner is..." My heart skipped a beat, and I quickly adjusted my appearance. "Miss Fanny," he paused and added, "please come up to the stage to accept your award." Hearing this, I stood up from my seat, enduring the pain from my twisted ankle as I made my way up the steps. However, an unexpected mishap occurred. I lost my balance and fell down the stairs. As I braced myself for a clumsy fall, a pair of strong, slender hands grabbed me around the waist. "Wow, Saxon just played the hero," someone in the audience exclaimed. "I envy Fanny. That's Saxon. Saxon was so cool, catching Fanny like that." My colleagues excitedly discussed the incident. Ahem. Saxon adjusted the microphone and signaled for silence. I straightened up, walked to the microphone, and gave my acceptance speech. "Thank you for awarding me the top-selling prize this quarter. I'll continue to work hard to develop more high-quality products for the company." After bowing, I was about to leave the stage when Saxon came close behind me and whispered in my ear, "Well done, Fanny. I've noted your name." I looked back at him and saw him smiling slightly, his gaze fixed ahead. His words left me feeling flustered as I hurried off the stage. After the banquet, guests said their goodbyes and left. I was feeling a bit sore from my twisted ankle and still had to walk to the subway to get home. As I limped along slowly, someone called out to me from behind, "Fanny, wait a moment." I turned around to see it was Saxon. I was stunned and asked, "Saxon, is there something you need? You've hurt your ankle, right? I'll give you a ride home." Ah, he's really quite kind. I looked at him gratefully and followed him to the parking lot, where he opened the car door for me. Wow, Saxon is so considerate and gentlemanly. I thought to myself. He asked for my address and drove me there while I sat in the passenger seat. The car was quiet, and as I was about to find something to talk about, Saxon spoke first. "Fanny, you just joined the company this year, right?" "Yes, I graduated from college last year," I replied. "Did you study this in college? How did you end up as a food developer?" he asked gently. "Actually, I was reassigned to food science in college, but choosing this career was my own decision," I explained. "When I was young, my parents were always busy with work and didn't have time to cook for me, so I stocked up on a lot of frozen foods in the fridge." Hearing this, Saxon smiled slightly, and every time I ate those frozen foods, I felt very satisfied and thought that it would be great if I could make such food for more people when I grew up. "That's quite inspirational." Saxon nodded. "By the way, how is your ankle? I noticed you were limping when I saw you earlier. Is it okay?" he asked, glancing at me. "It's fine. I twisted it while rushing to the subway today. It'll get better after a couple of days of rest," I replied. "Make sure to apply some medicine when you get home so it heals faster," he advised politely. "Thank you for caring about your employee, boss," I said with a smile. "Do you have any medicine at home?" he asked. I'm not sure. I'll check when I get back," I answered. Coincidentally, we passed a pharmacy, and Saxon pulled over. He said, "Wait here for a moment, I'll go buy some medicine." Saxon is buying me medicine. I was a bit surprised. Soon, he returned with the medicine, handed it to me, and said, "Make sure you get better quickly. In a few days, I need you to join me for a project survey. It's a bit far from the city, so we'll have to do some walking." Saxon must think my work performance is good and wants to mentor me, I thought happily. After a while, we arrived at the entrance of my apartment complex. I thanked Saxon and said goodbye. Saxon smiled and said, "Get plenty of rest and take care of your injury. I'm giving you 2 extra days off. You don't need to come to work." Oh, I was surprised to get 2 additional days off. "Thank you, Saxon. I really appreciate it," I said gratefully. "See you in a few days." He waved goodbye as he drove away. I held the medicine he gave me and watched him drive off. Even though my ankle still ached a bit, I felt a sweet sensation inside. After 2 days of rest, my ankle was much better. To be more comfortable, I wore sneakers to work instead of high heels. During lunch break, Saxon found me and said he would take me to the project survey in the afternoon. I remembered he had mentioned this before and gladly went with him. I sat in the back seat while Saxon drove from the front. With the sun blazing, I cranked up the air conditioning and leaned against the car door, planning to rest a bit. As sleep gradually overcame me, Saxon's handsome profile blended into my dreams. In this brief sleep, I dreamed that Saxon gave me a raise and smiled sweetly. The sound of even breathing came from the back seat. Saxon glanced in the rearview mirror and saw that Fanny was sound asleep. He thought to himself that she looked quite cute sleeping so quietly, and wondered what she might be dreaming about with a smile. I woke up thirsty. Having eaten a salty lunch, I asked Saxon if there was any water in the car. "Nothing else, but I can stop and get a bottle after driving for so long. I'm a bit tired and could use a break." As Saxon spoke, I found a place to pull over and parked the car. I got out of the car and noticed a small shop not far away, so I ran over to buy a bottle of milk tea and a bottle of mango juice, then headed back to the car. I asked Saxon, "Do you want milk tea or mango juice?" "Mango juice, please." Saxon took the mango juice, opened the bottle, and started drinking. The car was parked under some trees, and a cool breeze was blowing in. We enjoyed our drinks and felt relaxed and at ease. We chatted casually about work as we continued our journey. After driving for a while longer, we finally arrived at the coastal village we were researching. As the name suggests, the coastal village was surrounded by the blue sea. Although it was geographically remote, the scenery was incredibly beautiful. Saxon and I got out of the car and walked along the edge of the coast. I closed my eyes, listened to the sound of the waves crashing against the shore, and felt the gifts of nature. As we walked, I realized my shoelaces had come undone. I accidentally tripped and almost fell. Saxon quickly caught me and pulled me into his embrace. I could hear his heartbeat and feel how broad and solid his chest was. "How come you're so careless again?" he said with a slight chuckle, scratching his head. My shoelace came undone, and I accidentally stepped on it," I stammered. Before I could react, he knelt down and tied my shoelaces. "My boss is tying my shoelaces," I thought with a secret delight. The sun was shining on the sandy beach, and the sea breeze brought a refreshing coolness. Saxon walked ahead, leaving a trail of footprints in the sand. I followed in his footsteps, feeling cheerful and elated. After that research trip, I didn't see Saxon for a while. Actually, he didn't come to the office often, so opportunities to meet him as an ordinary employee were rare. One day, I suddenly got a call from Saxon. He said he was going on a business trip to Los Angeles and wanted to take me along. So, we went to Los Angeles for the business trip together. By the time we arrived, it was already late, and we went straight to the hotel. To my surprise, I ran into my ex-boyfriend, Blair Crofts. Here, he was apparently visiting Los Angeles with his new girlfriend, and was waiting in line at the front desk. He saw me and waved from a distance. "Fanny, long time no see, long time no see," I replied somewhat stiffly. Saxon witnessed the exchange and seemed to understand something. Blair Crofts and his girlfriend walked over to us. Upon closer inspection, I realized his girlfriend was Kathy Morse, a former classmate of mine. What a small world, I thought silently. Kathy Morse also recognized me and, looking a bit surprised, said, "Oh, it's Fanny. I didn't expect to run into you here." "Yeah, what a coincidence," I said with a hint of awkwardness. "Blair Crofts has mentioned you. I heard you're working at a good company in B-City. How are things going?" she asked, a bit condescendingly. "Not bad," I replied dismissively, not wanting to engage too much. "Really, you're working at a big company, but still dressing so simply," she observed. At this moment, Saxon stepped forward and addressed Kathy Morse directly. "Our Fanny is naturally beautiful, and her simple appearance is already stunning." "Who is this gentleman?" Blair Crofts asked, puzzled. "Nice to meet you. I'm Saxon, Fanny's boyfriend," Saxon said, jumping in before I could speak. He handed his business cards to Blair Crofts and Kathy Morse. Blair Crofts and Kathy Morse glanced at the business cards, looking a bit surprised. I was even more shocked. "What is he trying to do? Pretend to be my boyfriend?" "Fanny, is it true you're dating your company's boss?" Blair Crofts asked, clearly taken aback. "At work, I'm the boss, but in private, Fanny is the boss," Saxon responded warmly. It seemed he really intended to pretend to be my boyfriend. Maybe he wanted to take down the arrogance of this couple. As my brain was overheating, Saxon suggested, "Since we've met, why don't we all have dinner together?" Kathy Morse and Blair Crofts agreed, so the four of us went to a high-end restaurant. It seemed like the show wasn't over yet. "Tonight, I'll treat Fanny's friends to dinner. Please enjoy," Saxon said as he took the menu and ordered all the most expensive dishes. When the food arrived, I began to enjoy the rare and expensive dishes with satisfaction. Suddenly, Saxon reached out and wiped some food off the corner of my mouth. I quickly grabbed a napkin and nervously said, "Thanks. I can handle it myself." Help, he's really getting into character. It's not common for employees and bosses to date. "How did you two get together?" Kathy Morse asked, resting her chin on her hand and blinking. "I fell for her at first sight, so I kept pursuing her," Saxon said seriously. "First sight? He's really good at spinning a story. This guy must have had a lot of girlfriends," I thought. Kathy Morse immediately looked at me with envy, while Blair Crofts remained silent. I felt from the first time I met Fanny that she was the one destined for me. Saxon continued, "But I had to put in a lot of effort to win her over," he added with a smile. "Really, Fanny, was he that hard to get?" "What didn't you like about him?" Kathy Morse asked, puzzled. "When we met for the second time, I proposed to her." She was probably so shocked that she immediately turned me down. Saxon said with a grin, "Is he making things up as he goes along?" My internal alarm bells were ringing. After thinking for a moment, I added, "So, you shouldn't be so hasty about proposing marriage." Hearing this, Saxon hugged me and said with a smile, "Our Fanny is very pure, and often keeps me on my toes." Kathy Morse and Blair Crofts laughed along, though with mixed feelings. After dinner, they thanked Saxon for the treat and prepared to head back to their rooms. Saxon called out to them, saying, "Hold on a moment. Your rooms are on the second floor. I've upgraded you to a deluxe suite." Kathy Morse and Blair Crofts were stunned and repeatedly thanked him. This guy had quietly upgraded their room to a deluxe suite. He's really quick with his actions, I thought. While I was lost in thought, Saxon's hand suddenly grabbed mine firmly. "We're heading back to our room now, so good night," Saxon said politely to Kathy Morse and Blair Crofts. "Wait, our room? Does that mean we're sharing a room?" He then led me upstairs and opened the door to a deluxe suite. Once inside the room, I was finally done with the pretense, but I didn't feel much relief. "Fanny, to avoid suspicion, you'll have to stay in the same room with me tonight," Saxon explained politely. I felt a bit awkward and uncomfortable, saying, Saxon, I can't share a room with you." "Don't worry, we'll sleep separately. You take the bed, and I'll sleep on the sofa," Saxon said gently. It's fine, I can sleep on the sofa. How can I let you sleep on the sofa? I said, quickly placing my things on the sofa. Saxon sat next to me and said, you can sleep on the sofa if you want, but once you're asleep, I'll carry you to the bed. Huh? What's going on? I was a bit confused. I hurried to the bed, saying, no need, I'd rather sleep on the bed. Thanks, Saxon. Seeing my nervousness, he looked down and chuckled softly, muttering, so cute. I pretended not to hear and rushed to the bathroom to wash my face to ease the awkwardness. Since the water was running too high, my clothes got wet. I took off my soaked shirt and put on the bathrobe hanging on the wall. Wearing just the bathrobe felt very strange, but it was uncomfortable to stay in wet clothes, so I had to make do. I steeled myself, opened the bathroom door, and hoped Saxon wouldn't notice me. But as soon as I stepped out, I came face to face with him. He looked at me in just the bathrobe and slightly raised the corners of his mouth. Well, let's go to bed, I said, not wanting to talk anymore, and walked into the bedroom, turning off the lights. Good night, he said, coming over to close the door and speaking to me gently. That night, I dreamed again. This time, it wasn't Saxon giving me a raise, but Saxon buying me a beautiful dress. To my surprise, when I woke up, the dream had come true. When I woke up, Saxon was already gone from the room. I checked my phone and saw a message from him. Fanny, I went to the gym. I saw you were still sleeping this morning, so I didn't wake you. There will be staff coming up soon, so please open the door for them. Soon. The doorbell rang. I opened the door, and the staff outside said, Saxon sent us over. He said you need some new clothes. They showed me a row of various clothes and dresses they have brought. At that moment, I received another message from Saxon. Fanny, I noticed your shirt wasn't dry this morning, so I asked someone to bring you some clothes. Choose something you like, preferably white, so we can match as a couple. Oh, this show isn't over yet, and the tricks just keep coming. However, looking at these glamorous clothes, I felt pretty good, so I picked a white dress I liked, put it on, and walked out of the room. To my surprise, as soon as I stepped out, I ran into my ex-boyfriend, Blair Crofts. Blair Crofts looked at me and said, you've really improved your style since we broke up, but it's still hard to imagine you with someone like Saxon. Just as I was about to retort, Saxon suddenly walked over and called my name. Fanny. He naturally draped his arm around my shoulders and said to Blair Crofts, good morning, Blair Crofts. Is there something you need from my girlfriend? No, Blair Crofts stammered, clearly intimidated by Saxon's presence, and quickly waved his hand. If that's all, we'll be on our way. We have plans for today. Goodbye, Saxon said expressionlessly. Then, still holding the bewildered me, left the hotel. Saxon's plans referred to work. The work went smoothly, and to our surprise, we completed the business trip's tasks in just one day. Back at the hotel, as we were preparing to pack up and leave the next day, there was a knock on the door. When I opened it, I found Kathy Morse and Blair Crofts. We came to invite you to join us for a day out at sea tomorrow. It's not every day we get to meet, so why not spend some time together? Kathy Morse said. Well, Saxon has some last-minute work to take care of and plans to head back tomorrow. I hesitated. That's a shame. You've only been here 2 days, Kathy Morse said. Frowning after a pause, she added, Fanny, why don't you stay and have fun with us? Let your boyfriend go back alone. After all, he's the one with work waiting, not you. What do you think? Before I could decide how to decline, Saxon spoke up. Let's do this. I'll call to reschedule the work, and we can both stay and enjoy one more day. Saxon hates wasting time. Why would he choose to stay here and pretend to be my boyfriend rather than delaying work? I was puzzled. Before I could react, Saxon smiled gently and said, since we're here, why not stay and have one more day of fun? Okay, I was so caught up in his smile that I agreed without much thought. The next day, after breakfast, the 4 of us headed to the seaside. A yacht soon approached. Saxon went up the yacht stairs first and then reached out his hand to me. Come on, baby. With the sun behind him, he was bathed in a golden glow. Before I could step up, Blair Crofts asked in confusion, we didn't book the yacht, do we? Did you arrange it? Oh, no, this yacht belongs to my family. My dad used to love going out to sea. Saxon replied casually. What? This yacht is his family's. They have a yacht-in-law. I was shocked. Rich people are really different, Kathy Morse commented with a smile. So, the 4 of us boarded the yacht, went up to the 2nd floor, and started chatting while enjoying the sea breeze. I'm curious, what do you like about Fanny? Kathy Morse asked Saxon. When I first met Fanny, I couldn't believe how someone so beautiful and charming could exist. Everything she does is so adorable and captivating, Saxon said. So when I met her again, I impulsively proposed. After she rejected me, I was very upset at that time. My family was pushing me into blind dates, But even when I was on those dates, my mind was still on Fanny. Wow, this guy really just speaks his mind without any pretense. I mentally gave him a standing ovation. She thought there was too much of a difference between us, and even after knowing my feelings, she was very hesitant. I had to put in a lot of effort to get her to give me a chance. As he spoke, Saxon held my hand tightly and looked at me with utmost affection. Wow, I'm so envious of Fanny, Kathy Morse couldn't help but say. At this moment, Blair Croft suggested we go see fishing, so we started fishing. While fishing, I suddenly felt weak. Not sure if it was from the heat or something else. I slipped and fell. Fanny, are you okay? Saxon quickly caught me and anxiously checked on me. I'm fine, just feeling a bit overheated, I weakly replied. No, we need to go to the hospital right away. With that, Saxon had the yacht turn around and head back to shore. Kathy Morse and Blair Croft stood by, looking helpless. Soon, Saxon took me to a nearby hospital. After an examination, the doctor said there was nothing serious, just needed some rest. Saxon finally relaxed and took me back to the hotel. Back at the hotel, I felt a bit dizzy again, so Saxon called a doctor, who came and administered an IV drip right on the hotel bed. I fell asleep, and when I woke up, it was already the next morning. When I woke up, I saw Saxon sleeping by my bedside. The morning sunlight gently illuminated his face, highlighting his fair skin and long eyelashes. Did he really stay up all night keeping watch over me? I wasn't sure how to express my gratitude for his care. Saxon slowly opened his eyes and softly said, Fanny, you're awake. How are you feeling? Much better. I'm okay now, I replied, not wanting to worry him. That's good, he said, looking relieved and smiling. The next day, we flew back home. At the airport, we took a ride back together. When the car reached the entrance to my neighborhood, he got out and said goodbye. Thank you, Saxon. Well, I'll head home now, I said. Get some rest and take the day off tomorrow. You probably haven't fully recovered yet. Another day off. That's great. I was so excited that I asked without thinking, why are you being so nice and caring towards me? Because I like you, Saxon said sincerely, looking into my eyes. Because I like you. Did I hear that right? Am I dreaming? What an unexpected plot twist. I pinched myself and realized I wasn't dreaming. Saxon, I'm going to head back now, I said, unsure of how to respond, and hurriedly walked away. Wait, Fanny, Saxon called after me. I know you might be a bit overwhelmed right now, but it's okay. I'll give you time to think it over, and you can answer me when you're ready. Saxon's voice was very gentle. I turned around, bowed to him, and said, okay, I'll think about it. With that, I blushed and ran back home like I was fleeing. After Saxon confessed to me and kissed me, I didn't know how to respond. The next day, I still didn't know what to say. 2 weeks passed, and I still hadn't figured out how to answer Saxon. After dragging it out for 2 weeks, I still hadn't decided how to respond to Saxon. One day, while I was in the office hallway getting a glass of water, I turned around and saw Saxon. He walked toward me, cornering me against the wall. Oh no, is he here to demand an answer? Fanny, have you made up your mind? He asked, staring intently at me. I glanced around and thankfully no one was nearby. You don't have to worry about what others think. Just focus on how you feel, he said, noticing my anxiety. I'll do my best to address your concerns, he continued, sounding sincere and earnest. I was touched and instinctively stood on tiptoe to kiss his cheek. He was taken aback for a moment, then leaned in and kissed me deeply. My lips welcomed his kiss. Feeling warm and comfortable, I gently pressed against his kiss, exploring its warmth, and the entire universe seemed to spin around us. He broke the kiss and stepped back. We gazed at each other, and in the interplay of light and shadow, I felt a flow of emotions going against the routine of daily life. Saxon's dark eyes were bright and captivating. My face was close to his but not too near, and it wasn't turning or moving away. It just felt very close. Then he carefully leaned in again, tilting his head slightly, and kissed me once more. After that kiss, I didn't remember how I got back to my desk. I was dazed and distracted for the rest of the workday. By the time I realized it was already time to leave work, and my colleagues began discussing where to eat. Jessie Bryan, who sat her day next to me, mentioned that her boyfriend had received a big bonus and was taking her to dinner at the Vista Hotel. I heard Saxon will also be going on a blind date at the Vista Hotel in a few days. Jessie Bryan said to me, what, did I hear that right? He's going on a blind date. This news hit me like a thunderbolt and snapped me back to reality. How do you know that? I quickly asked Jessie Bryan. I accidentally overheard Saxon talking to his dad on the phone. I wonder what kind of woman Saxon would go on a blind date with. I guess it's probably the daughter of some big group, Jessie Bryan said with a smile. Gossiping. I wasn't in the mood for gossip. My face turned pale. Jessie Bryan noticed something was off and asked if I was okay. I waved her off, saying I was fine. How could I be fine? He confessed to me, kissed me, and now he's going on a blind date with another woman. Maybe he wasn't serious about me at all. Maybe I was just a little dessert after his meal, a pet for a wealthy playboy to toy with. Jesse Bryan might be right. Who knows? He might be going on a blind date with some rich heiress tomorrow. How could an ordinary employee like me be taken seriously? The more I thought about it, the more my heart ached, and I almost cried. The next day, Saxon sent me numerous messages that I didn't reply to. Fanny, I couldn't sleep all night, just thinking about you. Fanny, why aren't you responding? Fanny, you were the one who kissed me first yesterday. Why are you pretending it didn't happen? Crying face. PG. Looking at the down scenes of messages on my phone, I was still angry and just wanted to ignore him. I don't want to deal with a guy who's going on blind dates with others. To my surprise, when I got home from work, I found Saxon had parked his car at the entrance of my neighborhood, waiting for me. Okay, since he came all the way here, I need to get some clarity. So, I opened his car door and got in. Fanny, he said, looking at me with a pitiful expression. Seeing that I wasn't speaking, he reached out and took my hand. I flinched but then pulled away. Why are you acting like you don't know me? Didn't you already agree? And you were the one who kissed me first yesterday, he said, almost in tears. Are you going on a blind date with someone else? I asked straightforwardly. He was taken aback, then smiled again and said, oh, so that's why you're jealous. Please answer me directly. Are you going on a blind date with someone else? I insisted firmly. How could I leave the woman I love to go on a blind date with someone else? My family did set up a blind date for me, but I already turned it down, he said, pulling out his phone. See for yourself. I took his phone and looked at the screen, which clearly displayed a message he had sent. Sorry, I already have a girlfriend. I won't be attending this blind date. Maybe I was wrong about him. I felt a bit guilty, but then thought that since he had clarified things with me beforehand, my doubts were quite normal. So, I said to him, all right, let's forget about it. How can we just forget? You took the initiative to kiss me, and now you're acting distant. Don't you think you should make it up to me? My girlfriend. He began to act a bit spoiled. Girlfriend, I haven't agreed to that yet. I countered. See, you're not admitting it again, he said with a helpless look. Give me a bit more time. I need to think things over. I told him, I'll be sure to behave well. He said earnestly, I'm tired. I'm heading home now. Goodbye, I said, opening the car door and preparing to leave. Okay, see you tomorrow, he said with a smile. See you tomorrow? Who knows what this guy will come up with next? The next morning, I was groggily woken up by the alarm clock and started dressing in a daze. At that moment, my phone rang. It was Saxon on the other end. Baby, are you up yet? Haven't had breakfast. Right. His voice was very affectionate. Are you buying me breakfast? I started to wake up a bit more. I'm treating you. Come downstairs, and we'll go together. But I have to go to work later, and I haven't even gotten ready yet. It's fine. We have time. I'll wait for you. Okay, I said, hurrying to get ready in front of the mirror, not wanting to keep him waiting too long. I rushed downstairs and got into his car. He drove me to a restaurant owned by a company, and when we entered, it was completely empty. I booked the place for today, he said with a smile, and then continued, I'm both the waiter and the chef. You're going to cook yourself? I asked, a bit surprised. Yes, dear customer, he said, tying on an apron and skillfully starting to prepare the ingredients and utensils. Before long, he brought out a plate of steaming dishes. The fried fish was golden and crispy, the steak was fresh and tender, and green onions were sprinkled on the sunny side of eggs. He also served a plate of black truffle cream mushroom pasta, with one half covered in cream and the other half featuring a salad with chickpeas and kidney beans. The meal was as colorful as a Western oil painting. I dug in eagerly, and the taste was quite good. In my haste, I accidentally dropped my fork on the floor, and Saxon quickly bent down to pick it up for me. He suddenly started laughing, and I asked curiously, what's so funny? Look at your socks. Silly. I looked down and saw that I was wearing two different colored socks, and a yellow and one green. I was afraid you'd wait too long this morning, so I rushed, I said, feeling a bit embarrassed. While I was still feeling awkward, he suddenly stood up and kissed me. I closed my eyes, and the world fell silent. I felt a sweet emotion slowly flowing through me. The world seemed to tremble, and I was immersed in an indescribable warmth and tenderness. You're really cute, he whispered in my ear. Will you be my girlfriend? He pressed on. Will you be my girlfriend? This beautiful lady, he repeated. Okay. I was defeated and decided to give in. The sunlight spread across the floor to ceiling windows, and the air was filled with a sweet fragrance. It was truly a lovely morning. The story ends here. Feel free to subscribe to the channel to stay updated with the latest content. A large number of novels are updated daily.